What's up, everybody? We are here for KT Confidential, episode 256. We're talking about DougFord reversing his plans to open up the Greenbelt. Enjoy. All right. Welcome to KT Confidential, everybody. Today, we're talking about DougFord reversing his decision to open up the Greenbelt.
A lot of articles recently about this. A lot of news. A lot of people pissed off.
Of course. Anything, there's so many stories like this where it's very controversial. And you can't make everybody happy when you're talking about building. It's impossible. You've got so many variables.
And now there's this whole scandal. Did you read this? I
question if it's a scandal.
Like, that's digging deep from a media perspective.
So explain it.
The guy bought tickets to daughter's stag or son's stag or whatever. The whole fucking,
so explain it. So for those
I didn't read the whole thing because I just.
So basically,
so what happened?
We're talking about the same thing.
So the day that the proposed or the Greenbelt whole reversal of the plans and all this to expand and build homes in the Greenbelt, this was reversed. That's what we're talking about. And on the same day, there was somebody that got an approval for an application to build on land that falls within that Greenbelt area.
Yeah.
And then somehow there are ties between DougFord and the owner of the property. And it was like the guy bought a ticket to a stag or a party or whatever.
Well, there's more than one person. So part of the article I just got a little snapshot of says that the property owners of the land that was being opened up for development, first of all, they stood to see their land raised in value by a combined $8.3 billion. And more than 90% of the land on 5 sites passed by the housing minister's chief of staff were by 2 developers that he met at an industry event. So it does sound a bit questionable, but you'd also expect that prominent builders are all networking with prominent political figures because that's how business works. So it's reasonable to think that they have ties with most people that are going to benefit from this. Whether it was intentionally done, I don't know. Who knows?
It's no different than local businesses supporting local businesses in some case.
Right. It's networking.
Yeah. And ultimately, that's how we build our business.
I think, but when you're doing stuff like this, I don't know what the process was, so I can't speak to it. But when you're doing something like this, there should be a very structured and monitored process for people to bid somehow to be able to build. Like, you shouldn't, there should be very.
Like there's one application available. Here are the areas that this application is suitable for.
Yeah,
and you have a tender. Where that's a great idea.
A very transparent process.
Yeah.
Now, the challenge with this was it was the land select. I think there wasn't enough transparency or it wasn't clear how the land was being chosen. It's like one person was making this decision. They should have had some sort of a very structured voting process where they chose like 50 plots of land and chose 20 of those plots and it went to a vote. Okay, so that way there's...
Now moving forward.
Yes.
This will not happen.
No.
How do you feel about that? What are your thoughts on the initial implementation of building out into Greenbelt areas and now the reversal of it?
So the housing plan a few years ago, I can't remember which one it was, maybe last year or the year before. Part of one of the proposed housing plans that one of these parties had proposed was to open up a certain percentage of Crown land to development. I don't know, Crown land doesn't necessarily mean Greenbelt, But I think this stuff has to happen. I think all options should be looked at, though. So they had 7,400 acres they were going to open up for development, but at the same time they were going to put 9,400 acres back into the Greenbelt. Apparently 2,000 of it was already relatively protected, but more or less they were kind of canceling it out. So I think the whole thing and the controversy really just stems down to the people who were benefiting from it financially and the ties they had to DougFord or the minister that made the decisions of which properties to select.
Well, it's almost,
they didn't fuck that up. It would have been okay.
It's two different topics that are tying in together. Whether it's coincidental, probably not. And that's the controversy. That's why the media has exploded with talking about this.
Well, if you read every article, there's very little mention about people's concern about wildlife and habitat.
Right.
And it's all about the controversy about those who benefited from it financially. So I think that if that was removed from the equation, it would have been okay.
Well, they haven't benefited quite yet because nothing is built on those lands.
No, and they won't now for sure. But the other thing with it I found interesting is that, so it says if it proceeds, the landowners will be expected to develop a housing plan quickly with construction beginning no later than 2025. The aim is to build at least 50,000 homes on those lands in servicing of the government's target to build 1.5 million homes in the next 10 years. That's hardly a drop in the bucket.
That's nothing.
So why would you, if you're going to open up this land, such a controversial topic, why would you do it to hardly make a dent in your goal? Like that doesn't make sense to me. And it says they also don't know what types of homes are being built.
Yeah,
so that should have been.
What else are they going to do?
If you're going to allocate Greenbelt to service this goal of building 1.5 million homes, it should be mandatory that it's high density. Like, why wouldn't you, why would you want to have a multi-million-dollar subdivision of massive homes and hardly
So you're
touch
talking
the
about
target?
building upwards.
Yeah.
So now you're going to have 6 to 36-story condos in the Greenbelt.
Well, that's the controversy with it, is like, if you're going to build there, you need to do a substantial enough build to contribute to the goal. And if you are doing high density, does it not make sense at that point? Maybe a bunch of mid or low rise buildings mixed with townhouses. I don't know.
You know what I find very interesting is in the mix of all this discussion of building more homes, creating supply for immigrants, building in the Greenbelt, expansion, blah, blah, blah. Do you notice there's not much chat about commercial and industrial development these days?
Yes. Yeah.
Us just getting into and branching out with our commercial arm.
Yeah. Well, even shopping around for an office recently, like there's very few options.
It's very few options. And where are all of these immigrants going to work? So now they got fewer job options. I don't know what our unemployment rate sits at the moment. It keeps fluctuating. Fewer employment options and nowhere to live. Sounds like a great country to come and immigrate to.
You've probably heard about the controversy in Milton.
And you got to pay $1 for a banana.
Yeah. That's a whole nother topic. In Milton, there's, the proposed
healthcare. We got great healthcare. You don't wait lines at all anywhere.
Yeah. Alicia hurt her hand yesterday and was going to go to the ER. And I'm like, you're not going to emergency.
You're going to be there for 12 hours before somebody talks to you.
I'm like, even if you go, they're going to, even if your hand's broken.
Yeah. You have to be legitimately like about to die.
Yeah. Don't go.
You have a sore finger? Please have a seat.
Yeah.
Sit there for the next 12 hours. Then you can tell the doctor how your ass is sore.
Okay. So in Milton, there's a lot of controversy where, now we're seeing more high-rise, high-density development. But nobody nobody wants to permit it, the NIMBYs, right? Not in my backyard. There's a development right now that's proposed to have, I think it's 8 planned mixed use ranging from, I don't know how many buildings, but off of Highway 25, back in the Ford neighborhood.
Yes.
The developers putting in a request to have rezoning to get permission to build.
Mattamy Homes.
Yeah. I think it's a great location.
I think it's a fantastic location to do
I don't know
in.
how the people, you've got that development plus a buffer of 16 Mile Creek. Is it 16 Mile Creek?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then housing. Like that's a pretty good buffer. But everybody there is trying to fight it.
The creek doesn't run through that side.
Oh no,
It's
not.
just green space. Just green space.
It is. There is water there, but it's for the stormwater management system.
Yes.
But it's a pretty good buffer.
Yeah.
Naturally landscaped. Distance wise is pretty substantial.
So there's, I can't remember what street it is there, but there's a bunch of larger homes.
Yeah.
With
Or terrace. Backs onto it.
Is it or?
Yes.
Anyways, bunch of homes. Yes, you're right. Bunch of homes that back onto this quote unquote green space that now will have 6 to, I don't remember what the highest building.
They were 12 to 15.
12 to 15 stories and like 6 buildings of 12 to 15 story buildings in your backyard.
Yeah.
I would say that affects their home value.
But how? Sure. But when you bought it, how did you not realize that something was going to be built there?
Something. They did not know what that something would be.
Well,
and the proposal originally was live work.
Yeah, that's true. I do remember that. Well, this is live work because it
includes live work.
10,000
it's
square feet.
It's work on the main floor plus 14 other floors above us.
10,000 square feet of commercial, which to your point, we need.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. But, yeah, I mean, listen, at the end of the day, 25 there is a busy, and people complain about, so focusing on Milton for a second, and it's sort of off topic from this topic, but I think good discussion. There's the buildings at, I'll call it Thompson and Main, just by the superstore where the bridge is. So you're south of Main on the west side of Thompson. 3 big towers, the Thompson Towers going in there. And everybody's concerned about what that's going to do to traffic. I think those are much better locations than the ones on Costigan. Costigan's right behind a school in the middle of a park, surrounded by townhomes, detached homes.
It's so random.
It's so random, so out of place. There's no real conveniences close at hand. Like you can't walk to anything. You can walk to schools.
Yeah.
Well,
and those houses are backing on. Like those
houses back on.
Their backyard's immediately adjacent to the parking lot.
Yeah.
And garbage dump, I think even.
Yes.
Or maybe not. Anyways.
No, not the garbage dump.
You're
parking,
right. Parking for sure.
Parking lot. Yeah.
Yeah. Because we've sold some of those townhouses, and when you walk out the door, you can't see the sun because the building's in the way.
All you see is the building.
Yeah. But the buffer with these is significant.
Well, technically, the buffer there is significant in terms of distance.
Yeah, I suppose so.
It's no different. So there you go. Block your morning sun.
Yeah.
I don't know.
What do you say? You're not going to make everybody happy. We need more houses. I feel like, I don't know, they just need to build and stop asking people's permission.
How do you feel about the lower rise or mid-rise, I should say, condos that are just on the borderline of Tremaine? They're going into several buildings in there.
What about them? I think it's good.
I think it's suitable.
Yeah.
They're
mid-rise? I think they're like 8.
No, 4 to 6.
Oh, okay. I don't know. I mean, I think if you drive down,
if those buildings were 15 stories,
yeah.
Now you stop you start blocking the views of the escarpment.
So what?
Oh, you see, that's where you're going to have a lot of naysayers and a lot of...
Yeah, I don't disagree, but it has to happen. Where are you going to put these things? You're just going to have them, ship them off to like north of the industrial section and build houses there? Like, it's just inevitable.
Is it?
I don't know. I mean, it just kind of makes sense to me. The only other way to do it is to, like they're starting to do along Bronte Street. You've got the development that's going to go in at the corner, the northwest corner of Bronte Street and Bronte Street South in Maine. I think that's a good location.
I think that's a great location.
Yeah. I mean,
I think all of downtown Milton.
Well, yeah, I agree. That's a great spot.
Like if you think of building condos, you build it, you start downtown and you spread out.
Well, no, like if you look at places, well, I guess, yeah, you're right. Most downtowns like Oakville, Burlington, they have a number of high-rise buildings down there, if it's done properly. Sure. Downtown Milton's tiny, though, compared to these places.
In 10 to 15 years, though.
Not so much.
Even now, 150,000 almost going to be here and by the end of the year.
Yeah.
When you and I started working in Milton, there was 37,000 people.
Yeah.
That's 120,000 population difference.
The other variable too is if it may not make sense for the builders to build anything but these high-rise buildings, depending on costs.
I won't tell you who, but somebody you know,
okay,
told me,
yes,
that developers are strictly focused on building high-rise.
Okay, I can see that. I don't need to be told that.
Because after every floor, after 12th floor, I believe he said, is pure profit.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Pure profit, everything above the 12th floor. So.
But it's also needed.
Yeah. What do you think of the new Connect buildings?
I think that's a great location too.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'd have to see.
Wait till the traffic in these areas like Bronte.
That's the controversy too.
Yeah. 25 and Derry.
You already have to wait 3 lights to turn.
Is a very busy intersection already.
Yeah, I imagine they will. Actually, no, you'd think they would have done it already, like widening it. They have turning lanes in all directions.
Do you remember when the Pizza Hut...
Actually, not in all directions.
Like the Pizza Hut restaurant...
That plaza's horrible.
Was in that plaza there where the Rad Brothers is?
I was at Rad Brothers the other day. That plaza's just
it's dilapidated.
They're not going to put any money into it, of course.
Well, that's where more condos are going.
Yeah.
You're going to have big high-rise condos at either corner. I think it's great there.
It is. Quick in and out of town, sort of.
Yeah, quick, except you're waiting at that light for a half an hour to turn.
Yeah. Anyways, time will tell. We'll see what happens. But it's not like we're the first location. This happens everywhere.
So what's the next plan now after now reversing this Greenbelt expansion?
Well, I guess now they have to, I don't know, it'd be interesting to see. There's been no discussion about it really from what I've read in terms of how are they going to, where are they now going to build these 50,000 homes they were proposing to build? I think the focus really just needs to be on...
And with this whole GST removal...
For the rental buildings, purpose-built rentals.
For purpose-built rentals, and now limiting where potentially those could be built.
Yeah.
That's going to be interesting.
Yeah. I don't know. Time will tell. We'll see what happens. But it's inevitable that it's going to be more building high rises. And I think the big thing needs to be expediting the process because from everything I've read, it takes a few years just to put a shovel in the ground.
Yeah, no quick fix on any of these
another
decisions.
stat I heard, I can't remember where it went, but in Milton, this is there was recently something from the Oakville Milton Real Estate Board that was sent out by email. And it said in Milton, 90% of development requests have been delayed. 90%. Like there's a huge backlog. So something in the process is messed up.
And then of those applications, how many of them are going to get approved?
Right.
Next week, we're talking about short-term rentals and Airbnbs and how that market
It's a changing industry.
is changing completely. I'm really looking forward to that one. This one was more of a update on what's happening and our thoughts on it. But next week, I think we're going to get into some heated discussion.
Let us know your thoughts on this whole controversy with DougFord. Was it intentional? Do people have their hands in his pockets, or does he have his hands in other people's pockets? Who's making money off of this?
He has hands in a lot of people's pockets, and
all politicians do.
Giving them a little tug.
And it's expected.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye. There you have it. Thanks for watching episode 256. Let us know. Do you think there was
somebody at the door?
Somebody at the door? Do you think there was, people's hands in other people's pockets? Was the controversy accurate? Anyways, no more Greenbelt expansion or contraction. That was the worst ending ever. Thanks for watching.